Business Advice YouTube channel එක වෙනුවෙන් ඔබ සම ඉතාම සාදරයෙන් අද දවසෙත් පිළිගන්නවා. ඉතින් ඔබ රූපරාමු දැක්කනම් ඔබ දැනටමත් දන්නවා අපි කොහෙටද ඇවිල්ලා ඉන්නේ කියන කාරණාව. ඇත්තටම අපි වවුනියාව නගරයට තමයි ඇවිල්ලා ඉන්නේ. ඉතින් වවුනියාව නගරයට අපි එන්න ප්‍රධානම හේතුවක් තියෙනවා. ලංකාවේ ප්‍රධානම පිළ එහෙම නැත්නම් මම හිතන්නේ මේ වීඩියෝ එක බලන හැමෝටම වැදගත් වෙන විශේෂයෙන්ම ඩිජිටල් මාකටිං පැත්තේ ලංකාවේ අංක 1 පුද්ගලයෙක්ව හම්බ වෙන්න තමයි අද දවසේදී ඇවිල්ලා ඉන්නේ. ඉතින් ඔබ අහලත් ඇති මීට කලින් පීටර් ඩ්‍රකර් කියන පුද්ගලයා පවසලා තියෙනවා බිස්නස් එක්ක වැදගත්ම දේ තමයි ඉනෝවේෂන් සහ මාකටිං කියන එක. ඉතින් මේ දෙකම කරන්න පුළුවන් එක පුද්ගලයෙක් ලංකාවේ ඉන්නවා. අන්න ඔහු ගැන තමයි කතා කරන්න යන්නේ. එහෙම නැත්නම් ඉනෝවේෂන් ටෙක්නොලොජි එක සහ මාකටිං දෙකම මික්ස් කරගෙන එහෙම නැත්නම් මේ දෙකම එකට භාවිතා කරලා ලෝක මට්ටමට ප්‍රොඩක්ට් එකක් එහෙම නැත්නම් ලෝකේ විශාල වශයෙන් ඒ කියන්නේ අතරම ලංකාවට පමණක් සීමා වෙලා නැතුව ලෝකයේ ප්‍රධානම ආයතන වලට ඔහුගේ සේවාවන් සපයන පුද්ගලෙක් ගැන තමයි අද දවසේ අපි කතා කරන්න යන්නේ. ඉතින් මේ ඉන්ටර්විව් එක මම ඇත්තටම ඉංග්‍රීසි මාධ්‍යයෙන් තමයි කරගෙන යන්නේ. ඒකටත් ප්‍රධාන හේතුවක් තියෙනවා. ඉතින් අපේ සම්පත්දායකයා එහෙම නැත්නම් අපේ මේ ඔහුගෙන් අපි අදහස් ලබා ගන්නකොට ඔහුට සිංහල පුළුවන් වුණත් ඉතින් ඔහුගේ වඩාත් හොඳින් ඔහුට සිංහල භාෂාව කතා කරගෙන යම් අපහසුතාවයක් තියෙන නිසා අපි ඉංග්‍රීසි මාධ්‍යයෙන් කරා යනවා. හැබැයි අපි සබ්ටයිටල් දානවා. ඒක නිසා මම හිතන්නේ ඔබට කිසිම ගැටලුවක් වෙන්නේ නැහැ. ඔහුගෙන් අපිට අද දවසේ ගොඩක් දේවල් ඉගෙන ගන්න පුළුවන් වෙයි. As I explained in Sinhala, actually we just came to Vavuniya to meet a great person in Sri Lanka. As I told, he is one of the digital marketing expert, and main reason behind this interview is to enrich you from the knowledge that he has, especially with regard to the digital marketing, especially as we Sri Lankans, everybody can get his knowledge through this interview. That is one of our main focus of this interview. So Sharanya, thank you very much for accepting our invitation, and hi Bowan.
Hi Bowan, vanakkam.
Okay, great. My first question is, as I know, you started your journey from Jaffna, you started your schooling in Jaffna, and it's very remote from Colombo, right? Can you just explain a little bit about how you spent your school days?
Okay. So when I studied St. Patrick's College, Jaffna,
Yeah.
so that time I'm the most worst student.
Okay.
So my colleagues, they always focus on the class and the subjects. Even my class teachers, he said, he used to scold me, you're not going to do anything. You will become nothing. So, and also I thought like, I don't want to be the same one who are only focusing on the books and all this stuff. From my childhood, I used to think in a different way. So that's the main reason I didn't focus on the proper education. But if you look at other students, if you ask other students, they might tell you, I don't like maths, I don't like science. But in my case, I don't like anything when it comes to education.
Okay.
Because I'm not complaining about becoming an educated person, but everyone having their own flavor of thinking, own way of thinking and own way of doing. So likewise, in my childhood, I thought like education, it's going to be my pillar, but it is not going to define my life. So that's how I thought in my lifestyle, in my childhood. Then when I joined SLIT as a student for BSc in IT, so that time I only followed 6 months for a first semester, even though I didn't score a good GPA. Most of my school time, university time, I used to spend my time with laboratory, but instead of learning, I used to spend time with checking social medias.
Okay.
From my childhood, what I understand, I'm not focusing on the typical education and the book thing that it will help you to memorize. Those things I'm not really interested. But I want to learn things practically. So I understand if I can consume, if I can be a contributor rather than being a consumer, consuming papers and text and context, that is not going to make me a Sharanyan. So then after 6 months, I left from SLIT. I came back to Vavuniya. That's how my journey started.
Okay, so you started in SLIT, that was totally about IT, and now you are in a different profession, right? So how you changed your direction?
Okay, so there's a big story behind that. So whenever you face a challenge in your life, people used to take this as a problem. But in my scenario, what happened when I studied in BSc in IT from SLIT, one of my lecturers, he asked me, I raised a question, how the e-commerce transactions are happening online, because I'm not going there to study. I want to be a typical student. I want to be a very low student. I want to get attention from others. So what I did, I raised a question like, how all the online transactions happening through the wires. She got angry, the lecturer. She said, Sharanyan, you should only study for the exam. So, but the way that she said, it created a big embarrassment for me. Everyone laughed at me. So that time, even the friends, they started creating a kind of criticism about me. So that time I thought, okay, this is the time I really need to know exactly how the transactions are happening online. So that is the very first time on the laboratory I started checking e-commerce and digital marketing. So even though I didn't check about digital marketing at that time, I'm talking about 14 years back.
Okay.
So that time I started checking about how e-commerce is working. So that's the first subject in if you study BSc in IT from 14 years back. On the first module, it's all about e-commerce, how e-commerce transactions are happening. So I started getting to know how the transactions are happening, how e-commerce is getting pivoted. So that time only I got to know, okay, there's a new opportunity where people can learn and improve. So that is the only thing that I learned. But when coming back to Vaunia, I left with no options because I have to do something. Basically, I'm a Brahmin. So what I did in my early days, I do puja for the temples. And of course, like other students, I do have my own background as well. But when I started my business in Vaunia at that time, I only thought, okay, I have only two options. Maybe I can go back again to my old life, like a priest to become another person where you can do the puja things. So apart from that, I have one more option. What I gained in Slate, a knowledge, a skill set, and motivation from my lecturer. I don't want to say this is an embarrassment, but it's a motivation, it's an eye opener. So I thought she said, go and learn from online, go and get to know exactly from online. She didn't say, go and search from laboratory. So that's a spark, made me to think. Then I started getting to know how to build a website, how to do online marketing activities. So that's how the journey started.
Okay, everything you did alone, is it?
Of course, because there's no people around me that time. Because I stayed in my brother's house in Vauni at that time. I didn't get married 14 years back.
So in that time, have you had any internet facilities properly? How it happens?
So let me be very honest with you. So that time, there's a connection name called CDMA. Okay. Central CDMA. Have you heard about? You have to put 299 rupees prepaid card. Correct. And then you can get
at that time. Yes.
Yes. 512 kbps, 512 MB connection. That likewise. So that's how I started. Even though when I purchased my Pentium 4 computer, I mean, have you heard about Pentium 4 computer?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Now the current generation, they can see it from the museum. So the Pentium 4 computer, that is my very first investment. Even though when I studied in SLWIT, I did a part-time driving job.
Okay.
I did a part-time driving job. So what I do, morning to evening, I'll be in my university, in my college, and evening I used to drive vehicles, heavy vehicles. So that's how I earned, because that time is a war time. My parents are not able to support me for my education. So when it comes to education, studying from SLIT, that you have to pay like 98,000 every semester. And not only that, and tubes, feet, and extra things, living costs, my expenses and everything can be managed. So I did a part-time driving job. But even I did a labor job as well. So daily labor job as well, I did that. Not only me, but most of the Jaffna students, people who came from Jaffna, Batiko, they left with no options, but we have to do works to survive. So that's how we gained an experience. I didn't born as a boss. I started my career as a driver, and then I even worked for a typical construction company for just 5 days as a daily laborer, because I realized this is not going to work for me, because they will tell me you have to bring the stone to the top. With no option, we did that. But that's the main reason. Still, it's helping me to understand my team members when I'm taking decision about the company. It's giving me a pleasant experience where I can take right decision on behalf of thinking about my team members, rather than thinking from the boss perspective. Coming back to the story, so when I purchased my Pentium 4 computer, even though that is the very first investment, because of my 2 months driving job, salary being deposited by my boss, so I used that money as an investment to buy the computer. So that's how the business started. Okay, so now I have the computer, I'm using my brother internet connectivity. What I can do? So that was the thing. Initially, that embarrassment always coming in my mind. It's triggering my mind. Why she said, why my people are, my colleagues are maintaining a distance with me. So that's an embarrassment. I turned this as a motivation. I started digging deeper about digital marketing and online marketing, how e-commerce is working. So I'm good at research. I strongly believe research and practical experience are way better than spending time with books and memorizing. So that's how I started working on e-commerce marketing, e-commerce and digital marketing. So I worked for a foreigner he's from USA. He's a webmaster. He gave me a task. Say an example, I joined a webmaster forum, and on that webmaster forum there are digital marketer, professional digital marketer, freelancers. So they will learn and they will join with other webmasters to get their task done. So which means if you are doing a task for them, they will pay you in a USD value. Okay. So likewise, I joined as an intern for him, kind of virtual assistant. He gave me an explanation about this is how you have to get it done. So initially, my first job from him, he gave me a bunch of PDF documents saying, Sharanyan, just go through this document, follow the instruction. And I asked him, so what I'm going to get? He said, just complete this task, you will get paid. I didn't ask, because if I'm asking so much of question, probably he's not going to respond. I will lose my first job. So talking with foreigners is really a big challenge, big chance for me at that time. So when I opened the PDF, I got to know the instructions. You have to click on this directory and you have to visit, you have to select the right category, you have to add these things. Then when I opened the PDF, I understand there are 4,000 directories are there. I need to submit it. I need to submit the client information to the particular directory.
Okay.
I thought like I can get it done within less than 1 week, but it took me more than 1.5 months because that's the very first job. I need to learn and then you have to do it. So likewise, he paid me $15 that time, $15. Even though that's a very interesting story. He said, Sharanyan, give me your bank account. I can credit, I can do the remittance, I can do the wire transfer. So I immediately went and opened the bank account with the bank. I even told them I'm going to get USD. Manager didn't believe me. Okay. So when the client said, I have deposited the money, he didn't say that this is the amount that I have deposited. He said, I have transferred the money. I went to the bank and I asked, okay, my client said he's transferred the money. He asked me, how much is that? He didn't say. I told the manager, he didn't say that. I can't ask like this. Almost 3-4 days, I used to go and check the ATM whether money is credited or not. Then 4th day, I started suspecting the manager. Manager stole my $15. That's how I even started suspecting. Because when it comes to the entrepreneurship, the entrepreneurs are the people I strongly believe, because I work with a lot of entrepreneurs. So they love to work with alone. They love to work alone and they don't get advice. So the manager used to advise, don't rely on foreigners. There are a lot of scams happening. If you're doing work for people who don't have an identity, you're not going to gain anything. That moment I started suspecting the manager. Okay, manager stole my $15, so he's trying to give a new story for me. So that's how the system started. Then after 5 days, the money is credited. So that time it's like a 90 rupees, 85 rupees, 1 USD. Now it's like a 60, 160, 185. That is the very first income when it comes to online marketing. Even I earned as a laborer, daily laborer. I even earned as a driver as well. Even I earned as a priest when I'm doing pujas for the temple. But when it comes to online and digital marketing, that's the very first investment I earned as a virtual assistant working for a foreign customer. That's how my journey started.
Okay, Sharanyan, this was happening in 2008, is it?
2008, yes.
Okay, so you have started as a freelancer in 2008, and suddenly you started your businesses in 2009. So how you came to that decision?
Because I was a customer-centric person, which means I'm able to deliver exactly what my client requested me to do. The client, he's really happy about what I delivered for the 4,000 directory submission within 1.5 months. He realized that it took me 1.5 months, but even he paid just $15. But if you're doing a manual directory submission, probably you have to pay like $90 to $120 for a VA. But he paid me just a fraction. So he realized I'm a hardworking person, I'm trustworthy. So that's the reason he started giving me so much of projects for me. And also he referred few of his webmaster clients as well, his partners. So which means not only from that client, and also I started getting orders from other people. Because what's happening in the freelancer mindset, whenever you are new, whenever someone is trying to get jobs done through you, you are initially asking money. You are initially negotiating without even getting the client requirement. This is where we are failing. But we need to trust, we need to understand client requirement, and secondly, we need to understand the client is really authentic, he's willing to commit, he's willing to pay for us. If we can justify those things, then the third thing that we have to satisfy the client, not just delivering the report, we need to make sure we have to delight the client. That's what I did for him. So that's the reason I gained his trust. I gained his reputation. He realized I'm a hardworking person. So that's the reason he referred his partner. But from that moment, I had a requirement. So that moment, I need to get more people to get it done. Because 5 clients, they are referring so much of direct to some person. I can't just do it alone. If I'm going to do it alone, it will take like 1 year. So now I have requirement and money is flowing on my bank account. So I simply put an advertisement on a newspaper. I started recruiting people. That's an interesting story. So when people came to the interview, I told them, okay, so this is my requirement. I never done an interview, but I have attended interview as a candidate, but this is the very first interview. I'm doing an interview as an employer. Yeah. So please bear with me. At the moment, I have only table and desk, table and chair. So even though if I'm giving an appointment, I don't have chairs or table or even computer to give it to you. So I can give you an appointment right now, but you have to join me after 30 days. So when those people said, okay, we can do that, I talked with my client. Okay, so you have to give me a 50% advance. Normally our term is like this. When we are delivering report only, they will pay me. Yeah. Because I'm just an individual, not a company. Yeah. But I started negotiating with my client saying, if you can pay me 50% advance and pay me 50% on the delivery. So now I have money. So what I did, I purchased tables, I purchased plastic stools. That's 400 rupees. I'm talking about LKR value, 400 rupees plastic stool and tables, normal tables. So initially I have recruited 4 people with a salary of 8,000 rupees per month. And they did an amazing job because they are the people behind my success, initial success, because I don't want to call them as an employee. They are the people like a team and co-workers. They help me to bring the company, elevate the company to the next level. So we together worked day and night and we built the company. We delivered exactly what our client requested to do. And then we identified there are digital marketing companies approaching us to use us as their back office. They want to use our service, our people as their back office. Okay. Then they initially asked the question, are you a registered company? So this is where I identified there's a new requirement. In order to work with companies, I need to have an identity, not as a Sharanyan, and also I need to have an identity behalf of a company. I can get things done. So then I started registering. I started registered at this as a company. That's how the company started.
Okay, so that was started in 2009. At the same time, you have started another company. Is that correct?
The same year, but on November. Okay. Okay, that's also recap. Yeah. So when I'm doing digital marketing, when it comes to on-page optimization, if your website is not really doesn't have a compliance, you have 2 things to do. So which means you have to revamp your website, or you need to rehaul it. So revamp your website, or you need to optimize it. Yeah. So in that scenario, there are websites we can't just simply optimize. I will talk with my client. I used to tell them, okay, this website is not really good. When it comes to conversion factor, it's better to revamp it. So now they ask me, Sharanyan, can you do the revamp? I have no idea about how to do, I don't know anything about development design. But what I did, I told him, just give me some time, I will check with my team and come back to you. So within 1 week, I started learning about designing and development. Okay. So I asked them to give me the job, but I didn't ask advance payment because this is a trial job for me. I simply did the website and everything through checking through the YouTube tutorials and everything. I hand over the project to the client. Client is really happy. Client asked me a few changes. I even amended the changes. He paid me full front. Then I understand, okay, I'm doing these things are good. So that's how the new company started as a 7 Arena Technologies.
Sure. Okay, Sharanyan, but I remember earlier you told you were more searching about e-commerce transaction, how those were happen. But suddenly you change your direction to marketing side, digital marketing. How you got that knowledge?
See, everyone having website now. But the thing is, when it comes to e-commerce, you have a product, but there are consumers, they need your service. But the biggest gap is the customer doesn't know you have a great product.
Exactly.
You have a great product, there's a market for you. But I'm trying to fulfill the gap. So I'm creating strategies. Simply, we can't just deploy a digital marketing strategy for every business because every business is entirely different from each other's. So between we need to personalize the marketing channels, funnels, and strategies. Yeah. So likewise, why I didn't go into the e-commerce business, starting e-commerce business, why I went as a digital marketer, because I understand e-commerce is a very vast industry. So much of companies, so much of individuals are competing each other. Now I saw a great opportunity. So why they are competing, which means they are not able to do things. they are not able to get their sales traction done. So I understand there's a gap. If I can learn digital marketing to support these people, to connect these e-commerce marketers to the right customer, probably I can cater a lot of people. So that's how I pivoted as a digital marketer.
Okay. How did you learn this digital marketing initially?
Everything online. And also, I'm a person who always believe just watching YouTubes or watching videos and reading ebooks. It's always better to learn practically. So I used to work with as an intern and BA for the top-rated digital marketers. Now they are having a six figures company. So now earlier I worked with them as a BA. So they mentored me. This is how you have to do it, and this is how you want to manage your team members, and how you want to maintain your project through the dashboard and everything. Earlier what I did, I managed everything through the email. So they started explaining me how to manage project dashboard and agile and everything. So that's how it pivoted. Second thing, I started a company name called Arena Technology to deliver the website development and user experience websites and web development services for the web design and web development services for the clients.
Okay.
And then there's another requirement from my clients. So which means they have a great website, but the website is not loading properly. So much of uptimes, the uptime is not properly managed, which means I understand there's an issue with their hosting. So which means the web hosting, they host it on, I don't want to mention the name, hosted on world-class servers are loading ridiculously slow. So then I identified, okay, there's a pitfall. How I can leverage this situation and solve their problem. Then I started a company. I started doing research about when it comes to Magento, when it comes to WordPress, how you want to build an architecture. If you have a VPS or dedicated server, how you want to build an architecture. So I started learning about it. So initially I did my blog. I started my own blog. Then that's a WordPress one. So I went for a WordPress hosting. Even I understand that server is just simply a Linux server, but there are specific add-ons, specific modules that you have to install and compile in order to perform well. But that time they didn't provide such option. I started learning myself. Then I understand this website, this hosting company is providing WordPress hosting, but even though that is not a WordPress hosting.
Okay.
Then what I did, I purchased a VPS and dedicator. I started deploying the necessary add-ons, WordPress friendly add-ons like a Lightspeed, Nginx, Redis and everything. So I made the server performance something really better. And I informed my clients, hey, I have a dedicated server which is highly WordPress friendly, which is highly Magento friendly. Would you like to try my server for 30 days free? They said, why not? So I simply moved their, because I'm managing their WordPress sites. So I simply moved their WordPress site to my server. I told them, see, earlier this is the performance result. After moving to my server, this is the performance result. Earlier it was like a 13 second. Now after moving to my server, it's just a 4 second. So they saw a huge improvement on the performance.
Okay.
Then they said, Sharanyan, let's try 30 days trial. After that, I'm just telling them, earlier you paid $5 for the particular company, but for me, just you have to pay $14.99 because it's worth for it. I simply said, quality never comes cheap. That's how the privileged server hosting company started.
Next one, Sharan, what I actually wants to know now, many of many of people who are watching this video, they want to know, especially you are dealing with international clients, right? So it's very hard to get international clients from Sri Lanka because in terms of negotiating with them. So what is the success behind you, or else what are the strategies that you are using, especially capturing those clients?
Okay, it's very simple. So normally what we do, we used to find the target market for our product, and then we will think about the product. We never think how we came up with an idea to create this product. And then if you step back, then you will get to know the idea came from maybe one brain or team effort. So this is what we call as a reverse engineering. In my company, there's no sales team. If you look at the company, there's no sales team, there's no marketers at all. I'm gaining all the revenues, all the sales only using my reputations, which means an influential marketing. So which means when I'm publishing a content about maybe a LinkedIn or digital marketing, how to do link building, how to improve your sales conversion, and people are reading those content and they are simply reaching out through the comment box or contacting us through the support center. Hey, I noticed that you are talking about a conversion rate optimization. I do have an e-commerce website, but it is not converting. Can you help me to increase my sales revenue? This is how we are tapping them. So there is no cunning way or heinous way to sell your product if you have the right product. If you have the right product, you don't have to create a way of script, a communication script. In the cold calling, there's a way that you can do. I mean, I'm not recommending, but this is how the cold call works. They will have a script and they will call you and they will tell you these are the product that they have, even though they never know that you are in a different business, but the product is not really suitable for you. So likewise, in my company, when client is approaching to us, we don't immediately accept everything. Initial call, we will set up a discovery call with the client to understand their needs and wants, the project scope, and what they are trying to achieve using my team and my capacity and the strategies. And we will evaluate ourselves to identify whether we are able to deliver the result for them. So an example, if the client is paying $100, it is my responsibility to make sure at least he is getting 120. Otherwise, there's no point of reaching me out and my reputation is here. So which means if I'm not able to make him at least 120 or $20 profit, I can just claim myself as a digital marketer. I'm a typical salesperson where I can sell my product but without understanding the client result.
Yeah.
So for everyone, every entrepreneur or the digital marketer, whoever you are, you always need to start thinking from the client's perspective. A client, if someone is approaching you to get your service, which means they have a specific problem, you need to evaluate yourself. Are you able to, do you have the capacity or your product, are you able to solve their problem? If you are able to validate the requirement, initial requirement for 90%, then only talk about your pricing strategy. But what's happening in Sri Lankan context, when client is approaching, they are immediately thinking about how much we can propose. No, that's a wrong approach, but you're not going to grow if you're thinking in that pattern. You really need to understand how great your product, how great you are, how met your ability to solve their problem. That is the first criteria that you have to look. If you're able to solve that problem, then sit with the customer, let him to talk. You don't have to integrate. You don't have to integrate that. Take a note about his project scope, what he is trying to achieve, and what are the objectives that he is having. Say an example, he may ask you to develop a website, or maybe he may ask you to integrate a payment gateway, or he may ask specific needs. So take a note, and then don't immediately say this is the price. Let the client to remain for a while, like a 5 or 4 days, and you bring that project to the client or for your employees, for the team members. Say an example, in this scenario you have two options. If you're a freelancer, you have to evaluate yourself. If you're a company, bring that requirement to the specific team members. So because you're just accepting the project, but you're not going to do that, no? So your team is going to do that. You want to make sure your team is having the right capacity to deliver the result the client is expecting. So you can't just decide. You can't decide the client revenue success. Only your team members who are going to deal with the project can decide the result. So talk with the team, get to know whether they are able to deliver it or not. If they say that they are not able, this idea is not related to them, find a reason to get it done. If not, tell the client, after evaluating your requirement, I understand we are not the right match. Simply and very politely refuse the project. You don't have to accept everything. Don't be the person who don't have a vision. Okay, accept the clients that you are able to solve their problem. Secondly, if you're a company or if you're an individual freelancer, when you're gathering the data, tell the client, I'll come back to you within 3 days or 2 days. And go through the requirements and understand whether you are able to do this project. And also you need to make sure there are some existing project that you're working on. And if the new project, if you're going to plug the new project within the existing project, it is going to affect the entire timeline. So probably you may think that you have to do your yesterday client work by today, but you are getting a new client, which means your timeline is going to get changed. You need to have a project dashboard or maybe a calendar schedule to make sure that you are able to work with the client in a very proper way. Third, this is how we work. When we are getting onboarding client, when we submit the proposal, we will tell them politely, this is the project that we can deliver, this is the pricing, and this is your limit, our limit. So which means these are things that we will do it, and if it beyond that, this is the price we will charge. So not only the proposal, when we are submitting a proposal, we will ask them to come for an interview, live call. We will explain through the TV or dashboard or projector or maybe live sharing, explaining about the project and proposal scope. And if client is having any questions, we will answer them. Then we will onboard the client. It is very, very important. Whenever client is agreeing your proposal, accepting your proposal, it doesn't mean project is started and it's going to be successful. But from that moment, you need to create a best impression for your customer. So which means customer onboarding. We call this as a customer onboarding, customer experience. Customer is going to come to your office. Think in that pattern. Virtually, customer is entering your office. So which means you have to greet him. You need to assign a project manager. The project manager is going to tell him, hey, thanks for joining us. Or thank you so much for opting our package or service. My name is Sharanyan. I'm your dedicated project manager. And this is your dashboard. This is the milestone I have created. And everything he's going to demonstrate. And he's going to write an email saying, if you have any questions, you can reach me out via email. Or this is my mobile number. Because customer wanted to feel when there's a project dashboard, beyond the project dashboard, there are human. Are you able to reach? So this is how we work. It's all about experience, giving a great experience, a delightful experience for your customer will improve your customer loyalty. In typical marketer, they use a term name called CLV, customer lifetime value. For the typical marketers, what they do, typical marketers means they are not bad. Typical marketer means marketers. So, how they evaluate customer lifetime value. Say an example, if I'm joining as a customer for you, initially I'm paying you $1,000 and next time I'm paying an upgrade for $200. So I joined your program for 1.5 years, which means within 18 months I paid you $5,000. So which means your CLV, you will see in your dashboard Sharanyan, not Sharanyan traits, not Sharanyan behavior. You will see as a person Sharanyan 5,000 that you generated. But that's the way of typical marketing. But when it comes to digital marketing, persona. So which means you will have more data. Sharanyan joined as a $1,000 customer initially and he opted $300 and again he upgraded $400. Suddenly he cancelled. So which means you can see the pattern. So why he is cancelling? Sometimes probably his business is down. So this time you need to support. During the pandemic, what we did, my team members advised saying, our clients are going to struggle. So can we do something for them? So we approached the client and told them, hey, we are giving you 2 months free, 2 months credit back. When you are giving everything free, nobody going to understand the value. So we told them, we are giving back your 3,000 credit for the next 2 months, 6,000 credit we are giving you back. So you don't have to pay. So which means the client is really happy. So I mean, we also planning to cancel the campaign because we have nothing to do. I told them, no, I understand. That's the reason we are coming up front. Yeah. So thanks for your generous and we will be your loyal customer. So they simply cancel their cancellation plan and now they are paying us like a loyal customer. So this is how you want to maintain not a cunning way of relationship, but very authentic relationship with your customer. Even though in your business you have problem, as a person you have problem, your challenges, tell your client you have challenges and they will realize, they will support you. Okay, they will. If you are delaying your project, tell them we are not able to deliver your project by today, but if you can give us 3 days time, we can get it done. But be very upfront with the people. It is very important. If you are not responding or if you are delaying, if you are using unnecessary words, if you don't have a proper communication strategies, then you will lose your client. Of course, he is going to be a client, but he is not going to be a loyal client.
Okay, superb, Sharanyan. One more thing that I want to ask you. You were talking about loyal customers and delighting, right? Most of us are like to satisfy our customer, not the delight. So, what are the strategies that you are having in order to delight your customer rather than satisfy?
To be honest, I don't have strategy for that.
Okay.
So I'm very upfront and authentic with my customer. Sometimes I used to learn from customer. Apart from everything, I sit with my client and sometimes ask an advice because we are working with different verticals, different type of customer. Insurance client can tell me, we are handling few insurance companies digital marketing campaigns. So when I work with the marketing director, I still remember in last year it happened. He said, Sharanyan, we have a different package for especially for the health insurance. Would you like to opt in? I already have insurance plans. But I told him, normally I refuse to accept insurance agent's calls. But I told him, I can listen. We'll fix an appointment. And he said immediately, Sharanyan, do let me know your free time, we'll have a chat. I told him, so instead of talking to you, because we already have a relationship, instead of talking to you, why can't you let one of your downline member from my district from Vavuniya to talk. So he immediately contact the branch manager, and he sent one of the staff member next day. So she came to me and she started saying she's not able to talk to me because the request coming from the head office. So she started talking to me, this is the plan. I told her, okay, this is my income, this is how I'm working. Can you tell me how much I want to pay you, and can you recommend me the good plan for me? So which means not only just earning from the insurance company and also giving back. So which means the client is not going to cancel, because client will, if the board of directors are advising the brand manager to cancel the agreement with Extreme SEO, he may tell Sharanyan is my customer as well. That's the first barrier. Not cunningly, but
Polite.
based on the relationship, we built it. I can have agreement with other companies as well, but I'm also giving back. If he is paying 450,000, I'm just giving back another 50,000 as an insurance. I'm gaining a benefit. So this is how you want to have a good relationship with your customer, a very authentic relationship. You don't have to crunch everything. If you're crunching all the income that he's generating, giving your product, which means after 6 months he's not going to pay anything, because he don't have nothing to pay you. So you also want to make sure the client is earning back based on your result, based on your experience that you're delivering. This is the important thing that most of the digital marketers are missing. They're only focusing on the revenue, not focusing on the customer revenue, customer growth. So focus on your customer growth. Growth hacking, it's not about you. Growth hacking is all about improving your customer revenue. If you're improving your customer revenue like a double or triple, what's the problem to pay or ask your customer to pay extra? He will pay you happily. This is how I do. So if I can double my customer revenue, I can simply ask them, hey, we are paying 150,000. So I'm adding one of my extras, one of my new employee for your project. Can you add 35,000 extra? Happy to do that. So likewise, have a very authentic way of managing your relationship. Don't be a cunning marketer. Don't be a typical salesperson. Be very authentic with your customer and be very upfront.
Thank you very much. I think that advice is really important for everyone. Sharanyan, I just want to change the direction, right? We were talking about the relationship, especially marketing. Now, as you are expert in social media, especially in LinkedIn network, I just want to get more insight from you with regard to the LinkedIn network. So how we should use LinkedIn network in order to get the clients, and how we should maintain our profile. So what are the key things that we need to know?
Okay, first I don't want to accept the word that you said expert. Still, I'm a learner.
Okay.
I'm a learner. Instead of giving an advice, I will share a case study, because I love to share a case study. What happened, we have a group name called LinkedIn Mastermind. Together, professional LinkedIn enthusiasts, they have created this group. I'm also there. So what we did, together we are doing research. So what I did 3 weeks back, I posted a case study saying, I'm stopping my activities with LinkedIn for 1 week. No posting and no articles publishing, no promotions, and no accepting or sending friend request, followers request, connection request. So within 1 week, what I did, in my connection, I have more than 22,000 connections on my LinkedIn. I spend some time, there are plenty of tools, I spend my time to identify the persona, the connections. I simply refused using the automation tool. I have removed dead profile. Dead profile means there's a tool where you can analyze the LinkedIn profile which is not really active last 2 years. There's no point of keeping that connections. I simply removed that. More than 2 years, I removed it. So which means 19,000 profiles. So on that 19,000 profiles, what we do, every day we are sending new requests. Every day we are trying to promote. But we are forgetting, we already have 19,000 connections which already created that we never did. So what I did within the 2 weeks, I simply position my conversation for a specific customer. I'm using third-party tools, not Sales Navigator, to classify my target audience. So initially what I did, I created a separate funnel for the celebrities, people who are in the fashion celebrities, especially in Instagram. So I filtered those people from Instagram. I identified there are 6 people I spotted. One person is really active on LinkedIn. So I started analyzing her persona, what time she is posting, and who are the people oftenly getting engaged on her post, and what type of posts she is publishing. So everything I understand. Okay, I didn't immediately send a friend request. So what I did, she was my third degree connection. I immediately connected with my second degree connection, created a second degree connection between the people who already connected with the celebrity. So second degree connection. I went into second degree connection, and then again I started interacting. When you're in the second degree connection, you can interact with the particular person. So the celebrity post, when she is publishing, I don't interact on her post, but I do interact the people who already commented on her post. I used to interact those people comment. I used to start talking about, never liked, never did any interaction on her post, but on the commenters. So she started recognizing. There's one person, she said, he's also from the France. He said, your post seems really great, but still you can improve this kind of dressing code and everything. What I did, simply I went and comment, okay, you, very authentic way that you said, but if you look at her profile, she's positioning herself, especially for the fashion, especially for the cosmetic things. But for the cosmetic things, she need to focus on the face and she need to focus on the lighting. So that's a reason, that may be the reason she's positioning her photo. Then he said, agreed. But that time, the celebrity, she came and interact on my comment saying harden. So which means connection created. So from that moment only started interacting with other comments as well. So I became an advocate, I became a brand ambassador, I became a fan for her, not to get interacting with her, but defending every people who are posting something unnecessary for her, feeling awkward for her. So after 4 days, I got a request from the celebrity. That's how, so thereafter, you know how Sharanyan will convert the lead.
Okay, right. I think that's superb, and I think really new thing for us, because how you got that connection. We never thought about, actually when you explain also, I never thought how you are going to take this one. That was superb.
So once I got the invitation from her, I didn't accept it instantly, because I want to make sure that she don't want to feel like I'm not the typical guy who accepting instantly and sending a warm email. So I left her to wait another 1 day.
Okay.
And she cancelled, and again she sent, and then accepted. Because I understand, as a celebrity, she sent a message to another person. If he's not accepting, and ego touched, they understand, okay, she's having an ego as well. Then she sent a message, okay, he's an advocate now. So she sent a message, request again, I accepted. Then after 2 days, she started talking to me. And then she asked me, actually, I looked at your profile, it's very interesting. Can you do me a favor? Can you analyze my link Instagram and let me know the feedback? So that moment, then you know what kind of report I will give and how the engagement will happen.
Sharanyan, my next question is, right, especially these videos, most of our videos are watching by the young generation. So my question is, especially young generation, they wants to know how to use their, because they, as you mentioned, they have various talents, and at the same time they are in the social media and they are with the technology. How they must make use of their resources, especially their talents and the social media networks, in order to become entrepreneur, or else not only be an entrepreneur, even in order to uplift their life status, how they should use this technology, social media and their talents.
Okay, I understand. Again, it is not an advice.
Yeah.
It is not an advice. Let me share my experience with you guys. Probably it may help you. Two questions, two content that he asked, technology and social media. So for the technology, it's all about how you think, how are you leveraging it. So we don't want to dive into technology everywhere. Say an example, I still remember 15 years back when I was in board time, most of our income coming from the cultivation. So there are people, they do their kids' marriage after doing all the cultivation things, yes, working as a laborer. Now, due to the technology improvement, there's no labor required for the cultivation. Everything is handled by machines. But it's disrupting the laborer and the people lifestyle, and also not only that, health. So we became more and more lazy when we are allowing technology to control us. So which means, even though people, they are able to travel anywhere using Google Calendar, Google Map, and they are able to get reminder everything using Google Calendar. But the problem that we are allowing ourselves to technology to take over. So which means, we don't know exactly, if there's no Google Map, if there's no calendar, we will forget everything. Okay, systematically we allowed ourselves to control everything. Technology is controlling everything, even the home, even the everything automated. So that's completely fine, but as long as if you are able to manage it. So which means if you are using technology, learn how you can manage it, how you can stabilize it, like a hybrid way. So what if you look at my mobile, I'm only using very limited applications. Say an example, I don't use any unnecessary social media platforms or maybe instant messages to get notified to collaborate, because I strongly believe the meaningful conversation need to be done like this. So I have to look at you, you have to have the meaningful conversation. So likewise, if you are able to master your brain, use the technology, no problem, like a Google Calendar, Google Map. If you are using Google Map to travel Jaffna to Colombo, you don't know the road, but you're using Google Map. First time, that's completely fine. Second time, okay, you can use it for a while. But third time, if you're using it, which means you're not using your brain, you're allowing your brain to get drained. So which means that time, you have to remember everything. So otherwise, what you will do, you will rely on the Google Map. And if you're getting scheduling everything to Google Calendar, which means what's going to happen? Your calendar is going to give you pop-up. You will forget. You are renting your brain to them to remember. So use it first time, then forget it. Even when you're waking up, I do have an addiction. I used to wake up 4:45. Doesn't matter what time I'm sleeping. Earlier, what I did, I set alarm, but for after 1 or 2 weeks, it simply became an addiction. So probably you may have a question, how I can train my mind? You have to install good habits. The habit that you want to get involved that. Why I'm waking 4:45? Because I used to walk or run in the early morning. We have a group name called 5 a.m. Group Sri Lanka. So there are group of people, there are super people. I still remember there's one girl, she said, Anna, I used to sleep until 9:30, 10. But now I'm not able to sleep even 3 a.m. because I'm just waiting for the 4:45. So likewise, you have to get into that. You need to blend your passion. You need to blend the way that you want to grow. Ask this question. Say an example, what you did yesterday, it made you a change. What you did last year, last month, last 10 years, is there any change happen? Nothing. Then why you want to apply that again today? So if you want to be a change, if you want to improve your personal growth, do something that you never done yesterday. This is how you can pivot your life. Okay, you don't have to prove anyone. Be yourself, but don't use the be yourself for your excuses. People used to say, be yourself, I want to be in this way. That's completely fine. Don't use the be yourself for an excuse. So that's all about technology. So when it comes to social media, people used to complain social media is worse. Social media is the platform which is creating unnecessary things, TikTok and everything. I never get into TikTok, but I have seen there are world-class motivational coaches are using TikTok to spread millions of likes, millions of shares, but they never dance anything. They are using TikTok not to give motivational speech like this, but using a very proper way of articulating everything. Say an example, an image with no visuals, no communication. Say an example, image, they are writing it, they are simply showing you as a palette. So likewise, you can blend your creativity to help others, to inspire you, to inspire others. This is how you want to use the social media. If you are complaining about social media as worse, it's your mistake. You are using in a very wrong manner. Social media, you're talking about fighting, you're talking about politics, you're talking about religious, you're sharing about memes. You are sharing. Again, let me repeat that. You are sharing, which means it is coming from your brain. Nobody is sharing behalf of you. If you are sharing some unnecessary political talks, your brain having a determination about unnecessary things. So which means sometimes you will be more happy in virtual way. You don't like to communicate. You don't like to get engaged in a practical way. So you will maybe you may think like you are a celebrity, you are a superstar on the social media, but you may give priority for the people who are liking and commenting, but not in the real life, like your brother, your mother, your maybe close friends. So likewise, my suggestion to you when it comes to social media, it's not an advice, my suggestions. So use it in a very proper way. So if you look at my social media, I don't talk about politics, I don't share memes, I don't share about any religious things, but I used to dive deeper about politics as a business person, because I need to know exactly what's happening in my country and who are the leader I can vote. It's my right. You can just complain like you have voting power, you can select anyone. Of course, you have the power, but you also need to understand you are part of this country, part of the government. When you are voting, you can't just simply go and complain on Facebook saying, this guy is doing worse, which means you select it. You can't just simply say my brother voted for that person, that's the reason he's doing it. We need to accept it that we don't do that. That's the reason we are still going in a wrong direction. We don't use we always use I. So that's the reason I'm taking decisions on behalf of me. We never think like a country what need. We are not thinking about what exactly our country need, what kind of person that we need to choose. We only think like, I like this guy, I'm voting him. But we never think this guy can do better for our country, better for my city. We don't think, I know him, I like him. But we never visualize his expectation when it comes to if I'm voting, he's having capacity to do things for my country, for my city, for my people. That's all about social media and politics. People who don't talk about politics on social media doesn't mean they hate politics. They know exactly how to make it happen in a different way, not in social media, not a keyboard warrior. So likewise, you can use the social media to spread love. You can use the social media to spread knowledge and experience, spread vibes and all these good things, beautiful things. So it's all about if you're fighting on social media, you have no idea how to handle yourself. Forget about the social media, yourself. For an example, sometimes people used to come and say, when there's a new friend, my old friend is left. So people are not really empathetic. So which means you need to understand why your new friend left. Rather than posting on social, Mark Zuckerberg is not going to analyze and give you a call saying your friend why is he left. So you need to analyze why your friend left rather than posting on social media. So what if you're posting that comment like, if there's a new person, my friend is left. So which means other people will come and encourage you, okay, this is the world, this is how work, karma will deal everything. It's not like that. This is not going to solve problem. You need to understand why is he left. Because you didn't give the priority, you didn't spend your time, or maybe there is a reason. Instead of posting on social media, make a call and ask an apology. So that's how you can build and manage a relationship. Don't put the stress on your brain. Don't allow yourself to sleep with the stress. If you're going in a very bad situation, in my definition, there's no bad, there's no problem, there's no conflict. In my definition, it's a challenge. The way that you look, the way that you speak will define who you are. That's all about social media.
It's really good advice for them. And anyway, actually, I have so many questions to be raised, but with the time, I think it's not permit me to continue this program. But anyway, my last question, Sharanyan. Most of our videos are watched by especially the young entrepreneurs and especially the people who wants to do something differently, not in Sri Lanka, even in other countries as well. So what is your suggestion or what is your advice, especially people who wants to do their business on and people who wants to start their businesses? What is your advice for them?
Okay. 3 things I want to emphasize. Again, it is not my advice. I hate advice, I don't give advice. If you're a student, you want to become an entrepreneur, first you need to follow the passion. You really need to follow your passion. You need to ask these questions. Okay, if someone going to ask you, can you do a logo design? Can you do a photography? Can you do a coding part? But if your mind can say upfront without asking any payment, that's a passion. Because if you have a great passion, initially, you're not going to think about money. You will do it because you love to do that. You love to do that. So this is how you can identify your passion. I mean, I just simply gave you one hint, but there are 10 or 20 or 100 hints are there. So you can start digging deeper. And once you identified your passion, start chasing that passion. And again, once you feel that you are growing, then this is the time that you have to invest in your passion. So which means you have to change your passion as a business. So an example, I started chasing my passion as a research person when it comes to digital e-commerce and digital marketing. So after all the researches and the publishing all the blog posts and everything, that turned me as a performance marketing consultant. People who are reaching me not asking digital marketing, they're asking, can you create a strategy for my companies? I'm working for the largest corporates now. So I'm simply taking care of their Q4 entire digital marketing activity, still in Vaunia. The people who said it's for us, so still in the Vaunia. I'm just giving you hints, and the corporate people who studied from the biggest institute, they are following the guidelines which I'm giving. It's not about me, but the experience. So you have to invest in your passion. You have to invest yourself to improve your passion. So between your company, your idea is going to, your passion is going to create as a company. So when you're growing, that time you also want to be focused, scale your passion. So which means, say an example, if you look at me, I invested my passion, I started building a company. Now I'm scaling. How I'm scaling? I'm building a community around me. I'm started improving my people to tell them, hey, you worked with me for 5 years, 4 years. Now it's time, you need to go and start your own company. Okay, so this is how I can spread. This is how I can help them to scale. So sometimes you may think, okay, this is something for a biased thing. No, it's not like that. Because people who join this company are the freshers. 99% of them are freshers. After school level, they are joining to me. So which means if they are starting a new company, end of the day, they will, wherever they go, they're going to say, I've been mentored by, I work with Sharanyan. So that is the legacy that I want to leave it when I'm not exist in the world. So focus on your legacy. 3-stage again. First, chase your passion, invest in your passion, and scale. These are the 3 things, my favorite thing. But if you ask feedback from other people like venture capitalists and maybe advisors, they have different opinion. But as an entrepreneur, this is my passion. This is my way of giving a suggestion for the budding entrepreneurs like you.
Thank you very much, Sharanyan. Actually, the today's discussion, I think it was very fruitful, and I think other than you, I learned so many things, Sharanyan. Thank you so much for your wise knowledge, and especially I think by watching this video also, people who wants to get something, actually they can get the concept what he discussed, especially they can use that concept to their business and especially to develop their business. And I think if you get the correct concept the Sharanyan given, definitely they also can be success, isn't it?
Of course.
Okay, Sharanyan, thank you very much. Actually, I was really lucky enough to get your interviews and so long period, but I think everybody will listen to this because that is so much important to everyone. Thank you so much, Sharanyan.
Thank you so much. It's my pleasure. Thank you.